And we have to lose that absurd fear of taking a step back when it's appropriate. We have to lose that fear of being absent, of giving space, of not truly being there. It's terrible. It's terrible. We have a panic about doing something that is absolutely beneficial for us, truly. I want to find a way to truly make you understand that there is nothing more powerful that you can do. No act, no word, no text, nothing you can communicate to this person will lead them to awaken, to reflect. You will never make a person who has reached a determination, whether it's a determination they communicate to you or a determination in the way they see you in their mind or pigeonhole you or in the way they perceive a situation between two people. Believe me, thank you. You will not find the right words that make this person reconsider, that make someone who doesn't value you start to value you more, that make someone who stopped being attentive become attentive again. No, it won't be because of that post you make trying to provoke jealousy or get their attention, nor will it be because you appeal to their conscience or try to make them see that this is a wonderful opportunity that this person is missing out on. We don't work that way. And I get tired of talking to you about when you need to go no contact or when you need to allow some space. Not because I want to, because I'm against communication. I find communication to be wonderful. In fact, I find it very necessary, even more essential than chemistry or other aspects that people consider very important when evaluating compatibility or establishing a relationship. Communication is essential, but do you know what happens? For communication to be effective, there has to be a sender and a receiver, and both have to want to listen. And sometimes people are at a point where they don't want to listen to you in a way that they pay attention. Yes, they hear you, but they listen like someone who hears the rain, right? So in front of a receiver who is not bothering to internalize, think, or seriously reflect on what I say, my words fall on deaf ears. My words are as if this person had a raincoat. So I have to understand that the best way many times to make the other person listen to me, see me, and give me the necessary attention for that communication to have a foundation is first to make myself noticeable. How? Well, through the only thing we often haven't tried because it scares us. And it's what I tell you, take a step back, distance myself. And sometimes in situations, a small step back is not enough. I'm going to be completely honest. Sometimes there are situations that require time. That required time for the person to truly realize that they have lost you and to genuinely regret it. Because it happens to us, truly, humans have a natural tendency, especially towards things that come to us effortlessly, right? That is to say, when I have had to work to gain the attention of someone I am interested in, it is less likely that I will take that person for granted. It can also happen, but it's rarer. But when a person comes and takes an interest in us and we don't have to do anything, that is, we naturally catch their attention. This, which is actually a gift, especially if we don't walk down the street and people fall head over heels as we pass by, but rather this, which is a gift, which is that magic of love has arisen organically, the kind that overwhelms you when it arrives and you say, wow, I didn't have to do anything. Being 100% myself without trying to impress this person. It turns out that they have noticed me, that they have paid attention to me, that they are interested in me, and that they are the one trying to catch my attention, the one trying to keep this going, the one trying to build something with me. Well, in those cases, we are very prone, it's truly our human nature, unfortunately, not to appreciate it because it was so simple, right? Instead of understanding how truly complex it is that we have awakened that in that person and understanding that this might speak a bit about the potential that we have someone there who is indeed going to value us, right? Who is going to value us much more than when it's something mutual or a bit forced, right? What would be forced? Well, both of us have dating apps, or both of us went out on Saturday and we feel very lonely and we really want intimacy or companionship or affection. And then there's a slight attraction, but we force it. No, this person who truly notices you and makes the effort without you even realizing it, that person is going to value you much more. But instead of seeing it like this, as I say, we tend to welcome this person without really stopping to reflect on who is courting me. Objectively, we tend to slightly underestimate and take the situation itself for granted. This is guaranteed. This I don't know what, we don't value it. But just because we take something for granted doesn't mean that the moment we stop receiving it, we become aware of our love. And that's the part I want you to understand. Do we really believe? I don't know why, but man, it scares us, doesn't it? Obviously, we don't like, moreover, to stop being in communication or to stop knowing or to stop searching. In the end, the heart has feet, right? You go after what moves you, don't you? But the problem is that we are very reluctant to understand the paradigm shift the moment we stop pursuing. We truly believe that the situation is what it is, and that change on our part will not affect the other. Or on the contrary, we tend to view this change from a pessimistic perspective, in which we conclude that if by giving everything to this person I receive this, the moment I stop giving, it ends, it fades away, and that's as far as we go, without truly understanding the significant change it represents for the other person. To have something and then to lose it. It has nothing to do with it. We can apply this situation to any ordinary context in life. It doesn't even have to be about love. You can apply it to an object, a job, a relationship with other people, animals that aren't family. That is to say, I don't know, let's go, for example, not always to work or objects. Let's put it in another type of context. I was going to bring up family, but I don't want to touch on sensitivities here. Well, with pets, I also touch on sensitivities. Anyway, imagine that family member or that little animal or that someone you care about, but you take for granted that they're always there, and that leads you. Well, I'll call this person tomorrow. Or I'll play with them tomorrow. You postpone it because you have them. And in this case, it's not that you're underestimating them. It's just that the mere fact of knowing you have them makes you not give them the attention that perhaps you would like to. What happens at the moment when you no longer have them? Perhaps that elderly family member who passes away, or that pet that dies and you no longer have them. Oh my goodness. At that moment, you're overwhelmed with emotions. You're overwhelmed with regret if you feel you didn't give the necessary attention. Why? Because the situation has completely changed. That same day, if you still had it, that wouldn't happen to you. Let's look at it with an object. But also, the most basic things, I don't know, air, water, you appreciate. Do you appreciate that water comes out of the tap? Do you appreciate breathing? No, because you need it to live. That is, everything that we take for granted, that we assume is guaranteed, is very difficult for us to truly value. And as I say, human nature, when it hasn't had to put in much effort, can easily fall into that trap, which ultimately is just a trap of the mind. And a trap that automatically reverses. The moment that which we took for granted is no longer there. It's no longer there. We no longer have it. This completely changes our perspective. Both from the point of view of the desire we would have to regain it, as we saw in the example, in the case that we don't have the peace of mind of regret. Because it's not the same as, for example, if I'm in a relationship, I have my partner, right? And I treat my partner well. I'm a good partner. I give them quality time, and I'm attentive, and now this person leaves me. Of course, that's when the aspect of loss comes in. It's going to hurt terribly. The moment they leave me, at first I'm going to feel much more for the person than when I was in the relationship, because the feeling of loss changes the situation. Now, if I have been a good partner, it's not my responsibility. Even so, I'll probably do some soul searching, because breakups always happen, and I might end up blaming myself or believing I could have done better. But that's within the stages of grief, the bargaining phase, inevitably. But in general, I won't have that awareness. Now, if instead, I've been a somewhat disastrous partner, right? Let's say I've led my partner to the breakup because I've neglected them. I've dedicated much more time to other people. I've put them off for later. Maybe I've even done some wrong things, right? And now this person goes and leaves me. I have to add to the loss and say, oh my, but on top of that, I brought it upon myself and I regret it. Then why? Why couldn't I have told my friends last weekend that I'm not going out partying with you? That I have time for my partner? Why couldn't I, despite being tired from work, make that call to let this person know that I'm there, that I care, that I love them? All of that is south. Okay, well, with the people who underestimate us. But we have done things very well. And we are truly people who have potential. As I say, the problem is not in our lack of potential. It's in how we have approached it. That's where that feeling starts to arise, saying, but why? Why couldn't I reciprocate more? Why didn't I have that time? Why did I start acting many times even with disdain? Intoxicated with power, that person who even treats you a bit with disdain or leaves your message on read or takes 10 hours to reply. In the end, they know that you are there waiting. And to a certain extent, there's a slightly sadistic side of enjoying and saying, wow, I am so important to someone that I know that person is currently waiting to hear from me. Well, regrets come and clarity arrives, right? Because there's a lot of talk about the problem of idealization, of putting someone on a pedestal where you attribute a lot of qualities to that person because you start to fantasize a lot. And of course, you are going to fantasize that they do things their way. Hey, well, let them do it my way, right? To tell me what I want to hear. If I fantasize about intimacy, that person handles it masterfully, right? I mean, it's all like, and then little by little, of course, you start idealizing, you attribute emotional maturity to them, right? That person, yes. I mean, interestingly, that person who isn't there when you need them, in your imagination, not only is there, but gives you that speech that you find so attractive because it's empathetic, it's aware, it's... In short, you idealize them. Well, it speaks a lot about that problem because it is a problem, but little is said about how the same phenomenon, when we take people for granted, happens in reverse and is to underestimate someone. It's instead of realizing that maybe that person who is courting you is an attractive person who has many qualities, and just because you are snubbing them and they allow it, even though in your mind you see it as if this means that this person has no other options, it doesn't have to be that way. Maybe it's a person who also has many options on their side, and there are people out there who would be delighted to be in contact with them, but that's what disdain causes. We lose objectivity. And when you take the step and dare to understand that if this person doesn't want to, then you have to let it be. That if this person at that moment doesn't have the channel open, isn't a receiver who will listen to you, you don't have to waste time trying to find the right words to make them see. There will be time for that later. When this person starts to see you and seeks you out, there will be time to say those words you've thought about so many times, right? So when you take the step and overcome that fear and step aside, the person stops underestimating you. That trap falls away and they start to realize who you really are, right? Of the good things you had, of those wonderful qualities. They start to notice the people who like your photos, right? Who comment on them, who are there, right? Who are there in the background and who didn't even stop to look, right? Notice the difference. I notice it a lot. The one who's hooked is the one who's paying attention to everything, right? It's Amanda. Suddenly I realized that follows these people. Other people have followed them and whatnot. Always likes, and I don't know with whom, and the other doesn't. But when we stop underestimating, suddenly we start to notice those things. Suddenly you notice the detail that person has in their profile picture. You're paying attention to what attention they receive. Because you start to realize that you believed, or that those people believed in their minds that you were unconditional, that you would always be there, that you are something that came out of nowhere effortlessly, and they underestimated, and they stop underestimating. And the way they see you changes. You, and especially the situation between you two. There are certain phrases that I hear a lot in consultations, and one of them is undoubtedly, I know that the day that person loses me, they will regret it. They will regret everything I have given them, my dedication, that no one will love them like I do, that no one will. Okay. And I always answer the same thing. If you know, what are you waiting for? Usually the response I get is because it makes me erase. You give me a reply, it tends to be that I'm the kind of person who doesn't like games. And once I close the door, there's no turning back. So I don't want to close the door because there won't be any turning back. For me, they are excuses in the face of fear. They are excuses in the face of fear, truly. I know you might perceive it that way, but if you do, believe me, it's ultimately a subterfuge your mind uses to try not to face the situation. Believe me if you know. The problem is that you say it, but you don't fully believe it. Well, I encourage you to fully believe it because that's how it is indeed. You're not wrong when you say that. The day this person loses everything they receive from you and loses you, that's when there will be gratitude. What they were receiving, that's when they will see your real potential, not underestimating you. That's when regrets come. That's when moments of reflection occur. And often, perhaps, that final message you sent and it mattered on that day. Pepper, or maybe those things you told or asked them, that you asked 100,000 times to please consider this. Hey, I don't need a relationship anymore. I am content if you just consider a little that I like this thing or this detail, or this hurts me, please don't do it. All that which the receiver did not listen to, when you actually stop being there, is when that message takes a turn. As I say, there is attention. Because if there is no attention, you can put all the communication and effort you want from your side. You can draft the most understandable, empathetic, eloquent, considerate, and fair message, right? And it doesn't work because for communication to work, it needs to be effective communication. And for that, I need to have your attention, your willingness to listen to me. And if I don't have that, this doesn't work. And if I don't have your willingness to listen to me, I know that the best thing I can do is leave, to remove myself from the picture and wait for you to understand the situation as it is and see it clearly, and then come and find me. And that's when you can express what you want this person to understand, what you have inside, how you have felt, because that's when communication works. Not before, not when the other person is belittling you. Talking to someone who belittles you is humiliating because you realize that this person is not paying attention to you, doesn't care about what you're saying. Even if they maintain a correct line, a polite line, where they give you responses to make it seem like they're doing well, they don't want to look bad. They don't want to come across as, so they give you, yes, very good, I'm glad, yes, I'm sorry, take care, yes, I wish you the best, you're wonderful, you're such and such. And it burns you, right? It burns you inside because you're perceiving that, and it's like, my goodness, for that, don't say anything to me, right? That's why I say, one leaves calmly and waits, and they look for you. What if they don't look for you? Believe me, if a person is not capable of valuing you when they lose you, there's nothing you can change. I guarantee it, huh? Really, I guarantee you that. Well, I hope this video really truly helps you, that you liked it. If so, and you're not yet subscribed to the channel, of course, I invite you to do so, to hit the bell, because I would love for us to see each other again very soon. And until then, as always, I send you a huge kiss.